On 7's Gold Coast News, a flood emergency. A second natural disaster hits in less than a week. Campers stranded on the roof of their cars. We have extraordinary video. The northern suburbs saturated, vehicles and a bus submerged, roads cut. Plus, the hinterland hit hard. First, a deadly tornado. Now, relentless rain inundates damaged homes. 100 people rescued and a skipper charged with drink driving after a boat hits a sandbar. And arrest after arrest. The Gold Coast's wild New Year celebrations.
Live from the Gold Coast, 7 News with Amanda Abate.
Good evening. The Gold Coast has started the new year in the grip of a natural disaster, the second in less than a week. A flood emergency is unfolding across our region. We begin our extensive coverage with exclusive video of campers caught in a flash flood. The group became trapped on top of cars after a raging torrent swept away their sight. Tonight, we can show you every moment of their extraordinary survival.
Washed away.
What happened, buddy?
Josh Northeast woke to his sister's tent gone. Maddie, trapped inside, carried 40 metres downstream in this.
She was screaming, and then the neighbours cut me out with an axe and monkey gripped me out of the tent.
Alive.
There's Maddie's tent, there's my tent.
But now stranded, with floodwater continuing to rise rapidly around a campsite in the Numinbah Valley. The group of 14 climb on top of their cars until help arrived, the SES taking them to higher ground. It started at daybreak when the creek burst its banks. 30 centimetres of rain was dumped on the site in minutes.
We backed Dad's car up to the tree so we can get up the tree.
The flooding rain hit the hinterland too. At Tamborine Mountain, a main road turned into a raging river.
I love the rain, but a bit too much.
The region already a disaster zone after a Christmas tornado tore through towns. Now the overnight deluge has dealt another blow.
It's still going. So we've woken up to mopping and paddling and trying to save what we can again.
The tornado tore holes through Tanya King's roof. It smashed her kitchen windows. Overnight, more than 300 millimetres of rain fell at her place, destroying her makeshift repairs.
This is some tin that we found that wasn't too damaged, and it's sort of not really coping.
Now there's a constant stream of water, but her family refuses to leave.
27 years we've been here and we've put our heart and soul into this house. To watch it just crumble is heartbreaking.
A heartbreaking reality you'll find on street after street. Dale Langan's place resembles a pool. A large tree still remains lodged in his roof.
I got up there and put a tarp on with the neighbour, and so we're just waiting for someone to come and pick this baby up. But I couldn't get a crane big enough.
There's been so much rain here in the hinterland. The bitumen on some streets is starting to crumble. There are still many branches and trees blocking roads, which is why authorities are pleading with locals to stay home until the weather passes. Many roads remain closed. At service stations, there were long lines for petrol to run generators while the power remains cut off.
This is very frustrating for our crews trying to restore the roads and electricity network, obviously. But this is a significant event.
A significant event that many locals will never forget.
Just extraordinary. We have reporters across the Gold Coast. Our extensive coverage begins with Jordan Quinn in Nerang. Jordan, you're there with the scenic rim mare.
I'm joined by Greg Christensen, who's just come from a disaster management meeting. Thank you very much for joining us, Greg. What's the latest in the situation?
With more than 200 millimetres of rain across parts of the region today, there's a lot of roadways cut, a lot of water flowing, and there's water flowing under low-set houses or through garages and houses. A lot of requests for sandbags through the day, and a lot of people looking at a nervous night.
Obviously, the power is the main concern. When can residents expect to have their power reconnected?
Energex had made a good start and got to almost halfway in that recovery. And of course, they can't go out and work in this, so we're really waiting for how long this goes as to how slow that recovery might be.
Thanks very much for joining us, Greg. It'll certainly be a nervous 24 hours for residents in the hinterland. Amanda?
Yes, absolutely. Jordan Quinn there in Nerang. Now to Liam Bland at Main Beach. Liam, locals are being warned to keep clear of our waterways.
Amanda, water police have described the current conditions at sea as treacherous and are urging residents to stay inside. If your home has been damaged, evacuation centres are now open in Coomera and Nerang. Locals in the city's north are still counting the costs of last week's tornado. Now they're facing a fresh flood threat. A man alone on top of a car in Clagrabah, surrounded by swirling floodwaters. Danger too on Cantor Drive. A police officer guides a driver and passengers off a bus after water rose dangerously fast. At Mount Nathan, another rescue mission, locals prepared a boat to save these horses as the Coomera River rose and rain pelted their paddock. In Oxenford, part of the Gavin's roof was ripped off on Christmas Day. They sheltered in their car last night.
We stayed here for a little while, but then the wind come up and that was after last week's wind. We thought no, so we just went out in the cars.
The city's northern suburbs were some of the hardest hit on Christmas night. For many locals, the clean-up will be long, costly and made more difficult by the latest barrage of wild weather. Charles Avery's Helensvale home of 42 years is in tatters.
Part of the front there was just about ready to collapse, even in here. You know, you don't know if his ceiling could come down at any time.
His roof ravaged last Monday. Today, rain floods his living room. The 82-year-old and his wife have lost almost everything.
This was just a magic place to us. We would never, ever sell it. I'm feeling dead, you know what I mean, but we just sort of keep going.
Properties and roads across the northern Gold Coast swamped. This is the M1 at Pimpama. Goldmine Roan in Ormo a stream. The Oxenford Weir raging.
It's pretty bad.
Locals hit last week, now on edge.
Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking.
Dreamworld and Whitewater World opened briefly this morning, but soon shut their gates due to safety concerns.
Quite frustrated because we got our friends want to go to the park today.
It's the second time in a week our city's biggest attractions have been forced to close.
Oh, yeah, well, they need to be safe, keep everyone safe.
A region already recovering from disaster dealt another destructive blow. Liam Bland, 7 Gold Coast News.
Some of the heaviest falls have been straight into the catchment of Hinds Dam. Springbrook has had more than 400 millimetres of rain. The dangerous weather system started rolling over the city late last night.
The flash of lightning in the early evening, an ominous warning of what was on the way. 400 millimetres in Springbrook. The runoff caused a torrent which raged through parts of Mudgeeraba.
It's been pretty full on.
Dozens of drivers were caught out, their vehicles abandoned with engines flooded. At the Robina Hospital, cars were left floating. Regan Lord had towed more than 25 from floodwaters before midday.
Insurance companies are going to be paying out for weeks.
Gold Coast Springbrook Road, newly reopened after almost 2 years of repairs to landslips, was closed again.
Well, it came up pretty quick. Never seen it went so quick. I'm living here for 20 years now.
Debris marked the edges of Berrigan's Road.
Yeah, it was a lot of water flowing. I've never seen it flood in front of my house.
This is one of the first roads to go under, Hardy's Road in Benogan. The water levels rise here at a frightening speed. Right now it's almost a metre deep. At its peak it was submerged by nearly 3 metres of water.
Locals in this area have endured floods before, but a week on from the Christmas Day storm, another round of savage weather is hard to handle.
I came down to go to the recovery centre. Can't go there. I've had no power for 7 days.
So many outages, electricity outages from the storm earlier in the week, and then to be hit by Gilston had 250 mils of rain last night, Benogan I think had 250 mils of rain. It's just too much water.
Hinkler Drive in Nerang was a mess of muddy debris. The Mudgeeraba Showgrounds, a lake after the creek burst its banks. Heritage Bank Stadium surrounded by the dark tide. Across the road at Emerald Lakes.
And that's supposed to be a golf course over there.
The Glades in Robina was also submerged as a suburban creek turned into a fast-flowing river. Sam Payne, 7 Gold Coast News.
Now to Ned Balm in Pimpama, where parklands remain underwater.
Yeah, that's right, Amanda. It certainly has. If you take a look here, this is actually a neighbourhood park. It looks more like a raging river at the moment. It really is hard to believe, and it gives you an idea to the extent of the deluge and how far north it has come. Not just Currumbin, not just the hinterland, but suburbs up here like Pimpama, like Ormo, like Upper Coomera. Very low-lying areas like this have suffered flash flooding all day, and as many streets were also cut off for a period of time. In fact, the Ormo AFL club, the Bulldogs, their entire field went under today. It subsided now, but the destruction is widespread. So this deluge, we've really seen how far it has come, and we're really feeling it here in these northern suburbs.
Yeah, thank you, Ned Balm. Let's go to weather presenter now, Liz Cantor. Liz, what is ahead of us tonight?
Amanda, we're not in the clear yet. Severe warnings are current for flood and flash flooding and an outside risk of damaging winds. Here's a look at the current radar. As you can see, it was a wild night and there's been little relief today with widespread thunder and lightning. Today, the heaviest falls have been under those areas of red and black. Now, it is possible we may see another 160 millimetres over the next 6 hours. The yellow shade showing a peak overnight. Areas under severe cells could see even more, with up to 250 millimetres not out of the question. So expect further river rises and flooding before a clearing trend to the northeast tomorrow afternoon. Now, from around 9 to 10 p.m. tonight, we may see thunderstorms ramp back up. I'll have more details later in the weather.
Okay, that is concerning. Thank you, Liz. Coming up, a New Year's boat rescue. A vessel hits a sandbank in the Broadwater. The skipper allegedly drunk, and arrest after arrest. Wild scenes in Surfers Paradise as partygoers have an explosive end to 2023. Thanks for joining us. A skipper was allegedly drunk when his vessel ran aground in the Broadwater during New Year's celebrations. Danielle Bowen, it left more than 100 people stranded.
Yes, Amanda, it was a mission to rescue the passengers aboard the Spirit of the Gold Coast when it ran up a sandbar at around 11:30 last night. Water police arrested the 29-year-old skipper. He was allegedly 3 times the legal blood alcohol limit. Partygoers had to enjoy the midnight fireworks as they were being rescued. Volunteer Marine Rescue ferried 115 people back to the marina.
They were in good spirits and they understood that it was just an incident, and they were happy to get back to shore and get out of the rain.
The skipper wasn't the only one in trouble with the law. There were wild scenes in Surfers Paradise as police arrested dozens of people when New Year's Eve celebrations turned to chaos.
An explosive night. Arrest after arrest in the party precinct. Police moved bystanders on as officers tried to control the chaos and the crowd on the Surfers Paradise Esplanade.
Move! If you don't move, I'm going to arrest you, you understand?
Partygoers were dragged away in handcuffs and into police vehicles as dozens of officers tried to restore calm. The police perspective today:
Gold Coast had a handful of arrests and they were very happy also.
It was turbulent on land and on water as the storm rolled in. The sky was lit up well before midnight and not by fireworks. Umbrellas essential.
I suppose I can summarise New Year's Eve in Queensland as well behaved, safe and heavily impacted by weather.
But that weather didn't put a stop to this. Marking the end of 2023 with a bang and welcoming in 2024. A wet and wild start to a new year. Amelia Adam, 7 Gold Coast News.
Certainly was. Coming up after the break, we continue our special storm coverage. How many homes remain without power across the city. The latest numbers from Energex. 7 News flooding emergency, an unexpected New Year deluge on the Gold Coast. Roads cut, drivers rescued, campers stranded and homes inundated. Also tonight, when Australia's Mary will become Danish Queen. And Queensland and the world farewell 2023. 7 News at 6. Well, let's get back to our developing flood coverage. Michelle Jensen is in Oxenford tonight, and Michelle, a flood warning is in place there.
Amanda, so much water has already hit creeks and rivers. Now rain is flowing down from the hinterland and we're being warned more rain is on the way. The Albert River at Wolfdean near Yatala is at a minor flood level now, but it's expected to reach moderate flood markers by tonight. The Bureau is also closely monitoring the Nerang and Coomera catchment. It's had 350 millimetres of rain in 24 hours. Flood warnings have been issued for creeks and rivers at Pimpama, Coomera, Nerang, Mudgeeraba and Tellabudra and Currumbin. These are all areas where water levels are rising, and we could see very rapid rises if we do have more of those bursts of torrential rain.
Michelle Jensen there in Oxenford. Energex crews are facing extreme conditions as they work to restore the city's power. Almost 7,000 homes and businesses are still without electricity as workers now wait for the rain to ease.
Relentless rain, stopping electrical repairs in its tracks.
Flash flooding is occurring across our city,
adding more delays to getting the power restored.
It's really slowing them down. They're ready to go. Some areas just too dangerous.
Still, there's 6,900 properties without electricity, including Oxenford.
Mentally, it's been challenging. 6 days without power. To make the best out of the worst situation.
Today, workers were on Dennis Fogarty's roof, stopping the rain from seeping in. The damage from Christmas Day's deadly tornado.
Mother Nature, so there's not a lot we can do about it.
Power was turned back on at midnight. After 6 days, he's still frustrated.
Energex, as busy as they are, giving us 24-hour updates, I think was insufficient.
Last night's thunderstorms now hampering the process. Energex reassessing its plans. Many roads are cut, adding to the challenging conditions.
We will see that flash flooding, minor flooding in some areas.
There's also a sewage concern in Upper Coomera. This photo shows sewage spilling into nearby Baker Creek. Council says at this stage it's not a risk to the public, adding yet another bump in our city's recovery. Danielle Bowen, 7 Gold Coast News.
Weather's after the break, and coming up in 7 News at 6, we have more on the developing flood emergency across the southeast.
And severe warnings are current for heavy rainfall and flash flooding. I'll have all your weather details after the break.
Samantha Heathwood is here now with the top stories coming up soon in the News at 6.
Amanda, we'll have more on the Gold Coast flooding crisis. Roads cut, drivers rescued, houses inundated and campers stranded. Full coverage of the evolving emergency and how did the devastating New Year deluge catch the Weather Bureau by surprise? Also tonight, when Australia's Princess Mary will become Queen of Denmark, and how Queensland, Australia and the rest of the world rang in 2024. We'll see you for 7 News at 6, straight after the weather.
Thank you, Sam. Well, it is weather time now. Let's check back in with Liz Cantor after an eventful 24 hours, Liz.
Thanks, Amanda. Hello, everyone. What a wet start to 2024. We saw an incredible amount of rain overnight. Some suburbs received upwards of 300 millimetres. And behind me, you can see the fury of what is coming down from Tamborine Mountain through the Coomera River. We will continue to see our waterways rise and swell tonight. Now, let's get stuck into the current conditions. Here in Oxenford, it is 22 degrees with gusty east-south-easterly winds. Here's a look at today's temperatures. much cooler under the thick cloud. You can see for Coomera, there was only 2 degrees difference between night and day, with 21 to 23. On the satellite, rain areas are moving in from the ocean with the potential to become severe thunderstorms. Easterly flow will continue to bring a lot of moisture onshore, feeding into the current rain areas around the southeast and border region. Tomorrow, coastal areas will remain the focus of thunderstorms. Then hopes are in the afternoon we'll see an easing trend with patchy showers. However, our rivers and waterways will continue to rise. For our suburbs, 21 to 27 along the beaches, 19 to 26 for Nerang. For Surfers Paradise, 21 to 27 with the risk of thunderstorms continuing. On our waters, easterly winds turning southeasterly in the early afternoon, winds reaching up to 25 knots offshore south of Point Lookout, and the swell is easing back. It's recommended tomorrow to avoid all river mouths. Burleigh, Tallebudgera Creek, Currumbinally and Duramba will all be high risk for debris, and conditions are suited to an increase in sharks. Looking ahead, heavy rain could continue at any time. Hopes are for showers to ease back late tomorrow. Wednesday, possible showers. Thursday, mostly sunny with a top of 30. And Sunday, for those heading to the Magic Millions Polo, a top of 29 with a chance of light showers. So Amanda, it's likely we'll see flood warnings from tonight onwards. Those flood risks will become flood warnings.
Right, it's certainly not over yet. Thank you, Liz, and thank you for your company for this first local bulletin of the year. The latest on the flood emergency is next in 7 News at 6. Stay safe. Good night.